Nothing you will ever learn will be as important to your success as a forex trader than what I'm going to share with you in this video. I'm going to talk about the mindset shift that took me to multiple six figures in funding and allowed me to finally start making consistent payouts after years of losses. And so in the beginning of my trading career, when I got into trading, I was also getting into self-improvement. And this is going to make sense as I go through the video why I'm explaining this to you. And in the self-improvement space, if you didn't know, it's taught that the more you do, the more you'll get out of life, which is true. So I was going to the gym more, I was eating more healthier, I was sleeping more hours, I was doing more, I was proactively doing more, I was taking more actions, and I was making more progress. I was doing more, so I was getting more out of my life. I was doing better things and more of them. And this is what was taught to me. This is what I was picking up and learning within the self-improvement journey, which is brilliant because it's helped me massively. But the problem is, what I was learning within this self-improvement journey to do more and to be more active and to put more effort in and to put in the grind is actually the opposite of what is required to be a successful trader. And so before I get into the mindset shift that allowed me to finally become profitable, get funded and scale my trading with payouts, this mindset shift's not going to actually help you unless you have a profitable strategy. So if you don't actually have a system, if you don't have a proven edge in the markets that you know can give you a positive expectancy and actually is profitable, then you need one. And if you don't have one, you can learn my entire supply and demand strategy completely for free by clicking the link in the description. Because if you don't have a profitable strategy, the mindset shift that I'm going to be sharing with you in this video isn't going to apply to you and it actually isn't going to help you. But like I just said, you can learn mine completely for free by clicking the link in the description. And so you could have a profitable strategy. You could have a 100% win rate strategy. So that means for every single trade you take, 10 times out of 10, it's going to win. No matter what happens, you see your edge present itself, you see your set of rules present themselves on the charts, you take the trade and it always wins. That's what it means to have a 100% win rate strategy. You could have that strategy that never loses. But if you don't actually wait for the right set of rules to present themselves, that edge is completely useless. And so that's why the mindset shift, or this brings me on to the mindset shift that actually allowed me to start to become profitable. And just to help you understand what I'm going to be talking about is that what I've just said there, you could have a 100% win rate strategy. Every trade you take, you could have a system that every trade you take never loses. But if you cannot wait for the right set of rules, the right confirmations to actually clearly present themselves, that strategy won't work because you're not actually taking the right trades. So you'll always take the low quality trades that don't align with the strategy, and then you'll always be losing money and you won't actually be trading that edge properly, which means you won't get the results from that strategy, which is a 100% win rate strategy, which of course there isn't one out there, but that's just to help you understand where I'm going with this video. So now you can begin to understand the mindset shift that actually took me to multiple six figures in funding and allowed me to become profitable and get payouts. It was patience. It was understanding that being patient as a trader, once you have a system, once you have a proven edge in the markets, is the missing piece you need. I don't like to say it like that, like the missing piece, the secret formula, but it is. Once you have a proven edge, once you know exactly what trades you're looking for, you've done your back testing, you understand the process and the edge that you are following in the markets, all that is left to do is wait for those setups to appear. And again, if you don't have a profitable edge as a forex trader, you can learn my entire supply and demand strategy completely for free by clicking the link in the description. I had to change how I was looking at my trading in order to actually become profitable. I had my edge. I knew I had a proven profitable system in the markets, but I wasn't seeing the results. And it's because fear and greed was getting in the way. I always needed to be in a trade. I was being greedy, or I wasn't taking the right trades. I was being fearful, and it was stopping me from seeing the results I knew my strategy could give me. And so it's important to understand that progressing as a trader, in order to progress as a trader, it doesn't mean you need to always be taking a trade. Taking a trade doesn't necessarily mean, or isn't necessarily correlated with progressing. You could actively sit and wait out of the markets for your setup to appear for 2 weeks. And during that 2-week period where you're not trading, you are actually still progressing as a trader. And this is the mindset shift that I had to make in order to become profitable, get funded, and start making consistent payouts. I had to understand that I am still progressing as a trader even when I'm not actively taking trades, which is really important to understand, because going back to the self-improvement story in the beginning there, when I started trading, got into self-improvement, within the self-improvement space, it's preached that you need to do more, you need to be active, you need to constantly be doing something in order to progress. But in trading, that's not the case. Trading is one of the only businesses where the less you do, the more you make. And of course, in the beginning, you've got to put in the work, build your strategy, develop your psychology. But once you have all of that, what's left to do is simply just to wait. And a lot of traders, including myself before I was profitable, was getting mixed up with the idea that actively taking trades, always being at the charts, equals progress. And it doesn't. And the reason that it doesn't is because the best trades, the highest quality trades that align with my system, they don't come every day. So I have to wait. And so let me ask you a question. Are you consistently losing money because of the probabilities of the trades? The trades you're taking aren't working, you just don't have an edge? Okay, or are you consistently losing money because you're not waiting for the right trades? You might have an edge, but you're not actually being patient enough and waiting for the correct set of rules and waiting for the market conditions to actually align with your strategy. Have a think about it, because this was the problem I was having in my trading. I had an edge. I have an edge in the markets, but I wasn't waiting for the right market conditions to present themselves. And so I was stuck in drawdown. I was constantly losing money, wondering what's going on. But looking at my trading, it was that I was thinking the completely wrong way. I was thinking that doing things, constantly trading, constantly looking for setups meant being productive. But because of that, because I was always looking for setups, always feeling the need to be doing something, I was taking the wrong trades. I wasn't waiting for the right market conditions that align with my strategy. So let me just summarize the mindset shift that took me to multiple six figures in funding and what actually allowed me to finally start seeing consistency in my trading. And the mindset shift that I had to make was understanding that profitable trading requires you to do nothing. Once you have that edge, once you know your system, I had to then learn that in order to be profitable, in order to actually see my edge play out and to see its positive expectancy that I had seen during forward testing, back testing and collecting data on my system, in order to see those results, I had to be patient. I had to learn to do nothing. I had to shift my mindset to the opposite of what is taught in other businesses. In self-improvement, taught to do more. In businesses, the more you put in, the more volume you do, the more money you will make. But I had to shift that mindset. I had to think differently in order to actually see the results from my strategy. So to conclude all that I've said in this video, you've got to be able to wait for the right setups, the right market conditions to present themselves, aligning with your system in order to actually make money. And that requires patience. That requires a shift in mindset. And that shift in mindset is what I had to do in order to actually see profitability in my trading. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.